What's up guys, my name's Liam, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Zaopin Z2. I've been really looking forward to this considering the fact that their first mouse, which was the Z1, ended up being one of my favorite budget releases of the year last year. So this one has 4K and Ergo shape, and it has a hot swappable switch function. But is this going to be the perfect gaming mouse for you? Let's check it out. And before we get started today, I did want to let you know this was sent out to me by MetKeys. However, everything you're going to be hearing in this video is going to be my own words and my own opinions. Included inside the box, it does come with this little screwdriver to assist in opening up the mouse and swapping out the switches. It also does come with the 4K receiver, a USB-C cable. It does come with this suede style filling carrying case, the user manual, and then it also comes with an extra set of skates. It did come with this full skate here installed on it, and this one with the holes was actually on this piece, but I took it off and threw it on here, especially since I had to be opening this up and doing testing on it for the video and the demonstrations. But it is made out of the same material, and then you do get these grips, and the quality of these grips, they actually do feel pretty nice. Taking a look at the bottom functions, over here you do have the power button. Switch it down to enable the 4K receiver, put it in the middle to turn off. This also does have Bluetooth, so you can just switch it up to enable Bluetooth. Over here on the right side, you do have the DPI button, and I love the skate design on here. Pretty big design overall if you want to put smaller skates on here, dot skates. And one of the things that I was most surprised about and happy with when I got this out of the box was it does come with incredible skates out of the box. These do look like they're 100% virgin PTFE. They're this transparent color, and they feel incredible on all the different types of mouse pads that I was testing it out on. The feeling of this in the hands, to me, it does feel similar to the Waizowl OGM Cloud that just came out that I absolutely loved. It does kind of have that thicker style filling plastic, and the shell integrity on here has been incredible. I haven't noticed any type of bending, creaking, anything like that, and it does have a premium coating on here as well. I did mess around with getting my hands wet, and even with my dry hands, the coating really does feel great all around. And if you do get sweaty hands, then this coating really does work great. Even though this does have a hot swappable function for the switches to switch them out to whatever you like, it does come with the TTCs in here, and I was actually really impressed with how incredible that they actually do feel. They actually feel quite a bit lighter than the other implementations that I've had TTCs in. Usually they feel a little bit more clicky to me. Not that these don't feel clicky, but everything about the overall build of these, there's like literally almost no pre-travel. Post-travel on here is just fantastic on both mouse 1 and 2, so right in line with where I feel like it should be. I don't get any type of play left to right on the buttons, any type of teetering. Just the whole consistency of the click all around. No dead spots. It does get a little bit harder up here at the top, but really impressed with the overall click feeling on this, and I have no desire to switch out these TTCs with how good they feel in here. I also am really enjoying the scroll wheel. It's kind of a notchier feeling of a scroll, but feels nice and good as far as the actual scroll weight goes. It doesn't feel too light, doesn't feel too heavy, and the center scroll click there is a little bit on the stiffer end, but pretty easy to spam if you need to do so. And just all around, the rubber on this scroll wheel, everything about it feels really good to me. They also came through on the side buttons. They feel incredibly well. There's not really a whole lot of play, just a slight bit there from the rear, but really solid click all the way from front to back, so no real obvious dead spots even on the front one, and the post travel on them is really good. There's no type of rocking if you're to move back and forth on the side buttons, so all around really solid implementation. The second that I got this thing in my hands, I was actually really impressed by it. I really feel like they've been doing the research, potentially watching my videos, the skates, everything about it, having a coating on it. This really does feel great and premium, so I'm just really impressed with the feeling of it. Not that I should be, considering the fact that I did enjoy the Z1 so much, but they did step it up with their game here, and they really did put out an incredibly solid product in my opinion. So let's go ahead and jump into the click sound. After that, I'll show you guys how the hot swap function works. The hot swap functionality is actually pretty simple and straightforward to use. All you really need to do is undo these bottom 3 screws right here. The top does not have screws. Once you open it up, as you can see, this does look a little bit different considering the fact I did modify this by putting a 150 milliamp hour battery in here. But here is the easy swap function. There's just these simple 3 screw holes over here on the side. So you use a Phillips screwdriver, and you don't have to completely take these out. You just slightly loosen them up because these screws are actually tensioning the connection points on the switch itself. All right, so real simple like that. And as you can see, it's just a standard switch, which is 3 pins. So any type of standard switch should easily work in here. That is what the top functionality looks like. So when you're all done, just put any switch of your choice back in here. Make sure that it is pressed all the way firmly against the PCB and it is sitting flush. Now, when you are to go back in here and retighten these down, what I recommend is you don't tighten them too much. Just get them to the point to where they're just a little bit snug. I wouldn't want to bend the pins on there or anything like that. I'm not sure if it's designed to stop so it doesn't bend the pins or not, but just to be careful. And as you can see, just give it a double check, make sure it is nice and snug, and make sure it is sitting there flushly up against the bottom. And then once you're all done, all you got to do is just connect these hooks up here, back in the front. Be mindful of the scroll wheel. Make sure that that's all flush. Then you want to snap all the pieces together, go around, check all the edges, make sure nothing's sticking out, and then double check your clicks to make sure they're nice and crispy and there isn't a whole lot of play or anything doesn't fill off on them. And then finally, just come in here and screw in these 3 screws. And now should be all set. And as far as the weight and balance goes, I actually did modify this mouse, but I was testing it out obviously before I actually did the battery swap on it. Obviously, since I modded it, the front to back and left to right is perfect, but even before I modded it, the front to back and the left to right was also perfect. This mouse does come with a 500 milliamp hour battery installed in it, and the weight of this battery itself, as you can see, it comes in right around the 10 gram range, a little bit on the heavier end for my preference. I know a lot of people will prefer to have the longer battery life over a lighter battery and less of a battery life. The 150 milliamp hour battery that I did put in here does have a 1mm pin for those of you that are interested. And if you were to mod this yourself, I do recommend putting that lighter battery back all the way far to the end to make sure you maintain that solid balance. But what you can expect with this out of the box with the 500 milliamp hour battery, it does come in at 65 grams. If you did decide that you wanted to mod it and drop a 150 milliamp hour battery in here, it's going to put it right about 58.4 grams. The software is very simple to use, stuff that we've seen time and time again in a bunch of different various mice. Easy to drop the debounce setting down to 0 milliseconds. Over on this next page is where you can adjust your DPI and your polling rate. And finally, over here on this final tab, I do recommend enabling this long distance mode. This does actually decrease the battery life, but it does improve the quality of the signal to give you better performance if you are using 4K or 2K. So I definitely recommend using this, but these are my preferred settings to use while I'm gaming with this mouse. This is using the same complex firmware solution that we see in a lot of other mice. I still ran all the tests on it and the numbers are falling right in line. The 4K and the 2K performance, the click latency is really close to one another. It does take a little bit of a hit when you drop down to the 1K, but everything about the performance of this mouse has been working perfectly as it should for me in game. I do feel like the shape on this is really good. I have been enjoying it myself. Kind of this mid hump right here, and it kind of does have flatter sides over here. It does have a little bit more of this Ergo style shape right here. I've actually seen quite a bit of people out there mentioning this of being some type of a G Pro Superlight Ergo. On the G Pro over here, it's a little bit more flat. It is pretty flat over here on that side, and when you do look at this from the side profile just up here, it does kind of just have overall this really flat feeling, where Ergos are a bit more aggressively curved. But before we jump into the other comparisons, since I'm beginning the recommendations, I'll just go ahead and throw up the slideshow between these two, that way you can see what they look like. All right, so starting out, we'll go ahead and throw it up against the Lamzu Thorn. One big difference is starting over here on the bottom. Clearly, the Thorn has much more aggressive curves on the thumb side and even over here on the right side of the mouse for the pinky. Both the Thorn and the Z2, they do have an Ergo slope, but I feel like it is a bit less aggressive compared to the other competition that's out there. And another thing about these two that do feel really similar is kind of this hump profile right here. I kind of feel like it does have a bit of a mid hump, but it kind of extends kind of a bit more aggressively out here to the rear compared to some of the competition. Next up, we'll throw it up against the Pulsar Xlite V3. This is the size 2 or the medium. The size and scale of these are incredibly similar to one another. They almost feel about as equally wide as each other, but clearly, as you can see here on the bottom profile, less aggressive curves on the Z2. On the back, you can tell the X3 has a much more aggressive Ergo curve down this side, and it does have a much more aggressive hump over here on the side, sticking up higher, not only both in the front, but in the middle. But the one thing about the Z2 from the side, I do kind of feel like it does have this hump that kind of sticks out more back here, where the X3 kind of drops off more aggressively from the mid hump down here to the rear. All right, finally, we'll be stacking it up against the Waizowl OGM Pro. These two are really not that far apart from one another. You do see some similarities. The thumb side on both of them is a little bit flatter. I do feel like you have a little bit more height over here on the OGM Pro, but a little bit less aggressive on the right side of the mouse, where the OGM Pro does kind of flare out and feel a bit more wide over there. The OGM Pro is a flatter style up at the top, and this does have a little bit more of the Ergo curve that goes from the left down to the right side on the Z2. And then finally, taking a look at both these from the side, as you can see, the curve profile from front to back doesn't necessarily look too different on these, aside from the fact that it does stick up and feel just a little bit more aggressive on the OGM Pro. Alright guys, so that about wraps things up on the Zaopin Z2. Like I've already said many times in this video, really impressed with this thing. I've been really liking it a lot. I really feel like they nailed all the build quality on it. The one thing, or the only thing that I could really say about this that is kind of missing, obviously the elephant in the room, it is a little bit heavier, sitting at 65 grams, and I was a little bit confused by the fact that they came out with the Z1. They had a bunch of different options, ones with hole cutouts in the base, different size of batteries. Just in my opinion, it would have been cool if we could have seen a cutout base and a little bit lighter of battery options. I really feel like this is all around an incredible option. If this would have came closer to the 55 gram range, I really feel like it would have been up there with all the top, and there would have been absolutely nothing about it I could say negatively, to be honest with you guys. But I'd absolutely recommend checking it out if it at all looks like something that is what you're looking for in a gaming mouse. All right guys, so if you have any questions or feel like I left anything out, please let me know down in the comments below. If you've enjoyed watching this video and are interested in seeing more videos like this in the future, please drop this video a like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.